A rough-coated, dough-faced, thuftful ploughmen walked through the streets and coughed. Right? Hello, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. I always get a lot of questions from you guys asking when and how I learned English. And I think I've mentioned it a few times, but I started learning English in 5th grade at the age of 10. It's mandatory at most German schools. Now, when it comes to the how part, well, even though English is a relatively easy language to learn, especially compared to the complicated grammar rules in German, spelling and pronunciation in English just don't make any sense sometimes. So how did I learn it? With a lot of confusion and bitterness sometimes. And that's why in today's video, I have a few questions for English native speakers. The main one being, why haven't you guys changed this by now? Okay, of course I know that the spelling and pronunciation rules of a language go way back, and there's usually a linguistic explanation as to why things are pronounced the way they are, but that doesn't mean that it can't get extremely frustrating for us non-native speakers. By the way, if you want to avoid struggling like this when you're learning English, or German, or Spanish, or French, it's always good to learn the language with a professional teacher rather than all on your own, which is why I'm happy to say that this video is sponsored by Lingoda, and they have an amazing offer for you guys. It's the Lingoda Sprint, where you and thousands of other participants are challenged to consistently take language classes for 3 months straight, and if you succeed, Lingoda will refund up to 100% off your course fees. This is super effective to boost your speaking skills to the next level and reach a point where you can confidently hold up a conversation beyond just saying your name and where you're from. Lingoda is the #1 online language school, based in Berlin, Germany, by the way, and the great thing about them is that they have super flexible learning hours, which means that I really want to improve my English, but I don't have time to take a class, doesn't count anymore as an excuse. Because with classes being offered 24/7 for all time zones, you can integrate them into your lunch break, do them before work, at night, on the weekends, or whenever you want to. As you can see, you can just scroll through all the classes, filter them by day and by level, and then you can pick the topic that you want to learn about today. All of their teachers are native speakers, which is extremely helpful, especially when it comes to these things that we're talking about today, like pronunciation, and their classes usually only have 2 to 3 students with a maximum of 5, which means that you get a lot of time to practice your speaking and ask questions. The next sprint starts on August 2nd, and if you want to get 100% cash back, make sure to sign up by June 24th to get the early bird offer for the super sprint, which means that you'll take 30 classes a month for 3 months, and then if you accomplish that, you'll get 100% off the course fees refunded. But if that's a little much for you, you can also do the sprint, where you'll take 15 classes a month for 3 months, and you'll get 50% cash back. Lingoda offers classes in German, which I can absolutely recommend, of course, really cool language. Then they also offer English, business English, which could be perfect for all of you who need English at work, French, and Spanish. To sign up, make sure to check out the link in the info box below. The deadline for that is July 16th or June 24th for the early bird offer, as I said, and then you'll have to pay a €49 deposit to secure your spot. But with my voucher code FAST46, you can save €20 on that, which is $25. So make sure to use the code and check out their FAQ session before joining so that you understand exactly how it works. Now, there are so many examples where English pronunciation is really confusing, so I just made a list of everything that I could think of in the moment, but if you guys can think of other examples, please share them in the comments below. I put my examples in 5 categories, the first one being words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently. Now, the first thing that has to be mentioned here are all the words that include the letter sequence ough. The non-native speakers among you know the struggle. Let's say you learn the word through pretty early on when learning English. It's pretty hard to pronounce already, but then you finally have it down, through, and you think, cool, when I see those letters anywhere in the English language, I know how to pronounce it. So then you see this word and obviously pronounce it too, because you're smart, right? Only to find out that this one is really pronounced tough. Yep, as if there was an F. Like what? Through versus tough, spelled O-U-G-H in both cases. Then you see this word and go, thou? Nope. ah, thuff. Nope, this one is though. Then we also got this one, pronounced bough. And then here's one that I didn't even pronounce correctly for the longest time. I remember that I was teaching German at the University of Cincinnati 2 years ago, and in class we talked about being sick, and I kept saying, you know, when you're coughing. And the whole class was like, what is she saying? Until one of them told me that it's actually pronounced cough and coughing and not cuffing, which I think I knew, but I just didn't really hear the difference here. So we got through, tough, bow, cough, though. And then when you add a T to that, you get, nope, not thote, but thought. Of course, which rhymes with taught or caught, spelled with A-U-G-H. Ah, so that means that this word is pronounced laugh. Nope, for some reason, this one is laugh or laugh in British English. Then we got words like neighbor or wait, spelled with E-I-G-H. But then you see this word, obviously pronounce it hate, and then you're the idiot because it's not hate. It's height, obviously, duh. We also got word, spelled O-R-D, but then this one is not pronounced lurd, but lord. Sure. Or there are words that are spelled exactly the same, but are still different words with different meanings. Like this word. I personally always struggle remembering when to use which pronunciation for this. When it's verbeugen, like this, it's bow, but when it's Schleife that you wear on your head or on your neck, it's bow. And the only reason I could say that right now is I have two little memory aids. It's the song Take a Bow by Rihanna, which means verbeugen, and then a bow tie. So if I think of those two words, I usually know, but I still sometimes get it mixed up. Then this sentence right here sounds like this. The bandage was wound around the wound. Same word, different pronunciation and different meaning. Wound is the past tense form of to wind, which can obviously also be pronounced wind and have a totally different meaning again. We also got polish versus Polish, as in we must polish the Polish furniture, dove versus dove, or tear versus to tear. I could go on forever, but the last example that I need to mention before we talk about the next category is this one. To read would be the present tense, while read is the past tense, and to this day, I still find this confusing when it comes to texting and people talking about read receipts or that someone left them on read, or is it read receipt and being left on read? I'm lost. Okay, the second category is basically the opposite of the first one. It's words that are spelled differently, yet pronounced the exact same. Like no versus no, or night versus night, week versus week, or my absolute favorite, whole and whole, as in my heart used to be whole, but now it has a hole in it. I also always feel really weird when I talk about genes as in DNA, because in my ears it just sounds really weird to pronounce it the same as the jeans you're wearing. Like, you look amazing in those jeans. You must have really good genes. Huh? Then of course we got the classic that every English student struggles with in their first few months. There, and there. Where are the cheerleaders today? They're eating their lunch over there. They're eating their lunch over there. I remember being in 5th grade and I wouldn't believe my mom when she said that this is all pronounced the same. I was like, so it's there, and there? Nope, 10-year-old me, it's all the exact same. A few other examples for this category would be to meddle, rain to rain, sea to sea, sight, weather versus weather, or of course, bye. Bye, bye, bye. The third category is all about silent letters, my favorite. Like, why are you guys even in the word if you have no function? You would think silent letters are just something that you'll find in French or Spanish, but nope. English has a lot of them. We do use a silent H in German sometimes, but that one usually has a function. It indicates that the vowel it follows is pronounced long rather than short. So at least it does something in a German word, but in English, that's not really the case. We got the word hour, for example, which sounds like hour, but nope, different word. Or a favorite for non-native speakers, half. It just has a freaking silent L, like why? Then we got salmon, which a lot of people don't even know that that L is silent there too. Or palm tree, psalm, psychology, knee, knife, knowledge, and so on. And then all these words with silent B's at the end, as in comb, dumb, thumb, to climb, or in the middle of a word as in debt, subtle, or doubt. And then what's up with silent U's in the middle of a word? Like, it's not guilty, but guilty. That makes no sense. Same goes for building or guest. It should be building or guest. And then there are silent G's at the beginning of words as in gnome, or silent W's as in wrist or wrong or right, which of course sounds the exact same as the word right, which is written very, very differently. So as you can see, English isn't quite as simple as many might think. The next category are verbs and nouns that are technically the same word, but depending on whether you're using the noun or the verb, you pronounce them differently. So this is similar to my first category of words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently. Those words are called heteronyms, by the way, but in this case, the words are actually closely related. For example, something can incline, but if you talked about it as a noun, you'd say there was a pretty big incline. The noun is usually stressed on the first syllable, while for the verb, it's usually the last one. Same goes for to object in the courtroom versus an object, or to permit your child to do something versus giving them a signed permit. You make progress, but you progress in your skills. Or you insult someone, but what you say is an insult. We also got words like produce at the grocery store versus to produce something, or to present versus giving someone a present or living in the present. Those last two aren't necessarily related in their meaning, but it's still the same word with different pronunciations. Or another example that I just came across the other day where I was totally baffled was rhetorical as an adjective, but then the noun isn't pronounced rhetoric, which, excuse me, it should be, but apparently it's rhetoric. Like, huh? Sounds like Frederick. Last but not least, I made a category for words that didn't fit in any of my other categories, but that are just especially and unnecessarily hard to spell and read. Pun intended, because two of those words are necessary and especially. I mean, it really should be pronounced especially, right? Or especially, that's how it's pronounced in my head when I write it. And what's up with good old Wednesday? Wednesday is what that should be. And I know that even for native speakers, that's what you say in your head when you write it down too. Don't pretend that you don't. Nobody is that talented that they can write Wednesday without saying Wednesday in their head. That would just be psycho. I mean, either change the official pronunciation to Wednesday or spell it the way you want to say it. One or the other. Make up your mind, English. The whole IE versus EI thing doesn't make any sense in English either. In Germany, we have a rule for that at least, and I know there's supposed to be one in English too, something about I before E, but there are really more exceptions to that than words that actually follow the rule. Just take the words weird and height as one example. It's EI in both cases, but it's pronounced very differently, weird versus height. And then in the name Weinstein, it's even inconsistent within the same word. Another one that is really weird is the word woman and its plural form. For the plural, you change the second vowel from A to E, but what you do, because you're smart, is you pronounce that part exactly the same in both cases and switch up the pronunciation of the first vowel, even though that's written the same in both words. So woman doesn't become woman, because, I mean, that would be boring, but it's women. Makes sense, right? No? Okay, stop complaining. And last but not least, to come full circle, one word that many people have trouble spelling correctly is the word we've been talking about in this entire video, pronunciation. Even though it's to pronounce, the noun is only pronunciation. There's no OU, pronunciation. It's just losing a letter. And with that, please add your spelling and pronunciation examples that make no sense in the comments below. And I know I've kind of been roasting the English language for this today, but feel free to share some frustrating examples in German as well. By the way, if you want to hear what English would sound like if it did have consistent pronunciation rules, there's a really funny video about that. I'm gonna link that down below. I hope you guys liked this video. Make make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you did. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel in case you're not a subscriber yet. If you want to see more of my language-related videos, like German words that Americans use all the time, make sure to check out my playlist. And if you want to see more content outside of YouTube, you can follow me on social media, check out my podcast, and support my channel on Patreon and buy me a coffee if you want to. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Tschüss!